Welcome to the Bodega Cat Podcast with Christina Ng. Over the next hour, you'll hear from guest experts from a variety of different backgrounds, with specialties pertaining to pets and humans alike. Now, here is Christina.
Hi, everybody. This is Christina from the Bodega Cat Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. I have a special guest. Her name is Gina Griffiths, and I will be reading her little bio, and then I'll let her kind of tell you where she, add if she wants to add any of her bio or anything like that. So Gina Griffiths is a professional intuitive reader with 30 years experience. She reads for both people and animals and works by phone. Gina is a huge animal lover and enjoys helping both people and animals through her readings. During a reading, she does not use any word cards, as higher spiritual guidance comes through to answer your questions. She's also a medium who can tune in to your loved ones who have crossed over, both people and animals. Originally from Los Angeles, California, Gina currently lives in Nashville, Tennessee, with her 5 cats who runs the show. And isn't that true? Our cats do run our lives, don't we? Don't they, Gina?
Absolutely. Yes. For sure. Yes.
For sure.
Gosh.
Well, thank you so much for joining. Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh. Well, it was cool meeting you. I'm just going to say how I found you through the EE energy system. I saw as I was looking at all the locations and everything, I immediately saw, she's got a cat place, even though I'm not in California right now. But so that's how we met, and like a soul sister here and a fellow animal lover here. So I'm grateful, and I think there's a lot more cool things to come down the pike, and so thank you for
absolutely. Absolutely. I think this I feel very excited because we're sort of like, as we start our projects or whatever it is that we're doing, we're kind of finding our tribe along the way, you know what I mean? And reconnecting, with people who we're supposed to. Now, for my audience who doesn't know, tell us a little bit in your own words, your background, where you were, how did you come to be an intuitive, and then say a little bit about the EE system and what that is.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I didn't plan on being an intuitive, I guess, if you want to say it like that. I always had an interest, I guess, in, spiritual stuff. Ghosts as a kid, and just always had an interest in that realm. And of course, been a huge animal lover all my life. Grew up with lots of animals around. Had a special horse that I had too. Of course, all the animals are special, but I took a lot of classes. I was a massage therapist, and I was reading people's auras, and ended up transitioning kind of into doing readings. My body and my shoulders were starting to we can't do this massage therapy anymore. So I used to do a lot of energy work, and some of my clients, my massage clients, I'd be like, do you want a reading? I'd read the different colors in their aura, and some people thought it was weird, but some people liked it. So at that, time, 30 years ago, I don't know, something like that, I was taking a lot of different classes, also with the animal communication. I had studied with Penelope Smith and Carol Gurney. They're kind of some pioneers back then. And also Callahan, who I met more recently. I think she's now retired, but she makes me cry. She's such a beautiful, beautiful soul too. So beautiful animal communicator. Wish I got to meet up with her a lot sooner. But so all of this, there's another lady that was fundamental for me in my spiritual path. Her name was Katrina, and I took like weekly classes with her, reading auras and angels and practiced. Actually got to do some hands-on practice, which is really helpful, I think, for anybody in building their intuition, to be able to kind of say what they're getting and see if that means anything to people, getting the confirmation. I think that's very helpful. So I would say kind of all of these things, I just kind of had a thirst for knowledge with that. And I'd say all these different classes and aspects of things kind of all kind of came together where I just ended up kind of doing readings, full time. I also, I mostly read for people, but I have a large majority that I read for animals, and I do a lot of mediumship too, for people and animals too. So I know I'm kind of going all over the place.
Okay.
Yeah. So I did have a very special horse that was in my life for 25 years, and I think he was pretty fundamental with my animal communication looking back. He came into my life when I was about 10, and like I said, had him for 25 years, but he went blind probably about 4 years after I got him. So I was pretty much his eyes, for him, and would kind of squeeze him with my legs and lift up the reins, and he would kind of lift up his feet accordingly. He could maybe see maybe about 10% out of one eye, but he was pretty much blind. So, I'd ride him all over the place. I even took him, we went to horse shows. We trailered out to horse shows, and one of our favorite classes was a trail obstacle course where you navigate a horse through obstacles like 4 tires lined up, and you step through the tires, or you go over little jumps, or you go through gates and back around things. So that was always kind of our favorite class. So, but I think my connection with him makes me teary-eyed. Was very tight. Ooh, sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, and he was with me. My parents were going through a divorce. I love my parents, and but I think I just poured my heart and soul into him, and I guess I'm saying this that I understand the love and the bond people have with their animals.
He was like your first teacher, wasn't it?
Yeah, I
He's
think
like your original teacher, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, he was. Not any fancy kind of horse, but he was like large pony size, 14.2, and he's just a good guy. So, yeah, but so sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah,
I could feel his energy. He's here. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a beautiful animal. And speaking of that too, I do believe that a lot of the animals will come back and reincarnate. They can a lot of times with people again. So I did
a reading one time, one of my Akashic Records reading. By the way, you and I did a trade reading where I read for your cat, Sasha, who has kidney disease and cancer, and she's going through treatment right now. And then you gave a beautiful reading of my cat, Patty, who's going through, or who did kind of went through some episodes of, digestive stuff and vomiting and all that stuff. And it's a beautiful reading, I want to say. And you were pretty right on in terms of how Patty is and what she, what her personality is and what she was thinking. So I wanted to thank you for that.
Well, thank
Yeah.
you, and back at you for the beautiful reading you gave to me. Yeah,
Oh,
it was awesome. So,
thank you.
yeah,
Yeah. But I wanted to say, that animals, they are our teachers and they help us, we help each other evolve in terms of, spiritually evolve. So I was doing a reading one time with a client, and we tapped into one of her lifetimes. And it turns out that she, in one of her past lives, she had a very, very difficult life situation. And she was raising 3 kids by herself. I don't know what happened to the husband, but she was raising 3 little kids by herself. And in this lifetime, those 3 little kids came back as cats to help her.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a beautiful reading actually. But the they made a pact that the cats would help her. They would reincarnate in this lifetime as cats to help her with her spiritual purpose, with her life purpose. And I thought that was, the relationship between humans and animals is so intimate on a spiritual level that I don't know if a lot of people are talking about it. But
Yeah.
anyways, yeah.
No,
So I just wanted to
totally
kind of
agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, it's always interesting looking at the overlays with people and animals and the connections from other lifetimes and timelines too, and the things that we're learning or continuing to learn, or how you can meet somebody and like 5 minutes you feel like you've known them forever.
Mm-hmm.
That soul connection and that instant bond,
Mm-hmm.
very, can be very strong. So,
Yeah. And I really think, cats and dogs are here to help humans evolve spiritually. They teach us how to love and how to care and to, think of someone other than ourselves, because humans can be so self-centered. I know I am because I'm an only child.
Wow. Oh, you're sweet.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, they're very unconditional, and I can't tell you how many readings that I do even that, a lot of people, and nothing against people, I do love people, but, a lot of times, people are just, I just want to be with my animals, or like people are more upset when their pet passes away than sometimes family members. I'm not making light of that at all, but there's people are very, very, very bonded, because of the unconditional love. So, that the animals have, and what we're learning from them, and they're learning from us. So it's very cool. But it's very, very deep. So,
absolutely. So I wanted to kind of, touch a little bit about what you are as a psychic intuitive and how that is different than other psychics or intuitives or readers out there, if there is a difference.
Yeah, I was pondering that, and for me, I kind of think of as intuitive and psychic as kind of the same thing. Now, medium or mediumship is, specifically tuning into, beings that have crossed over, passed away. So but as far as psychic or medium, I don't know. To me, I kind of see it the same, pretty much. And then everybody, obviously different readers read differently, and I'm sidetracking here, but, I always think it's good for people to, trust how they feel and see, who they're vibing with and, and all of that, too, with things.
Yeah. So do you have a ritual that you go through before you do your reading, or do you just kind of
I say a prayer and just a line for, the highest and greatest good, for who I'm reading with, taking a moment to do that. And then a lot of times with people, a lot of times I'll tell people I start out, I call it a blank slate and not know anything and see what comes in, kind of do a short little reading with that. And, a lot of times reading the colors in people's aura, everybody has an electromagnetic vibrational field that vibrates, at color and frequency. And I tell people the colors basically have information, about body, mind, and spirit. So I'll read that a lot of times, and then I hear things from the guides and angels too direct. I don't use any cards, so I'll hear things from them. Sometimes will pop in, and then psychic stuff also kind of comes in. It's kind of like I turn on the TV, I guess the third eye, if you want to say, and look and see what comes in. And then I always tell people, if you have questions, just to make sure people can get answered what they want, because sometimes what comes in isn't always their questions. A lot of times it is, but I always just tell people to, make sure you have your questions down so we can, look into what you want to look at. And it's kind of looking at the bigger picture, of things. But
now with all the readings that you've done, is there like a common theme that animals have or message, maybe for the human owners?
Yeah. Yeah, with the animals, let's see. I think they, just want to be present and connect, with people. And I know we can be busy and on the go, but sometimes just sitting with them and being open and present and connecting. I mean, I think that's part of their healing that they bring in too. And also, they're in our environment too. So, and this isn't to make people feel guilty because we all go through stuff, but, they can pick up, on our stuff, too.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like I play music for my cats. I mean, of course it's good for me too, but, they really like that nice, peaceful music. I think is good for them.
Especially cats, they like the calmness. And they don't like loud noises. I know my cats doesn't.
Oh yeah. I think they're like, I could be wrong with this, but I thought I heard their ears are like 10 times as sensitive or something.
That's what I heard too. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think sometimes people might not realize that their stresses may be affecting, the animals too. So it helps us to kind of be mindful of how we're feeling in our energy, and also helps our animals too,
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, very interesting. Yeah. Well, I always thought that, cats are master healers and master meditators, because if you look at them, they look like they're sleeping, but they're really not, because when you walk up to them or start petting them, they would kind of open their eyes and they're not really sleeping deep, you know what I mean? And then with their purring, people say there's a frequency to healing, and that's a healing. The purr is a healing frequency. So they really absorb some of our humans' emotions and stress and, everything else that we go through every day. And they which is probably why they sleep so much, because when you sleep is when you heal. Because you're not expending energy doing other stuff, other stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I just heard, with the purring, with what you said, it was some scientific thing where, their purring frequency like heals like tissue, muscle tissue, and bone. I mean, I hadn't heard that exactly, but I thought, well, that's pretty cool, Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a scientist, but that kind of makes sense if you study frequency and vibration. I mean, Nikola Tesla says if you want to understand the universe, just study vibration, frequency, and energy. And that's part of the healing process. Yeah.
Yeah, and the exciting time going on right now, I think we're right on like we're right on the verge of technology. I'm going to say becoming more mainstream. I think it's been around. I mean, it has been around for a long time. It's just been, withheld. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just been hidden. Yeah, and I agree. It's been around for a long time. I mean, I was a hospice nurse for over 25 years, and so that got me interested in the alternative field medicine. Because, I see my patients come in, the treatment that they had was oftentimes worse than the diagnosis itself. And I had a conversation with my coworker one night, because I used to work night shift, and she's like, Christina, look around, everybody's dying. This is the norm. And I remember thinking, it doesn't have to be that way, right? Just because that's what's happening around us. So that kind of got me into researching the alternative medicine part, essential oils and energy and all that kind of stuff. And actually, it's been out there. What's the word I want?
Rife?
Yeah, like Rife machine and things like that. But it's been out there. It's just people just have to dig it. It's like a treasure hunt. You got to dig into it. Yeah, now it's just more out in the open.
They kill people that get stuff out there. That that healing technologies. I mean, they off these people. Sorry to say, but they don't want this stuff out there. But I think we're at a turning point right now that's, I think, very exciting that this stuff is more coming out. I really think it's going to be, it's going to be normal, in the future here. We're just right kind of on the cutting edge of this stuff, even though it's already out here,
Right.
So,
right. Yeah. So with that, let's segment into the EE system. I know you kind of talked about a little bit in the beginning of the podcast. So maybe you could explain a little bit what the EE system is, according to your understanding, and how you came into it. Yeah.
Yeah. How did I think I saw, Dr. Sandra Michael Rose is probably a lot of people listening might already know. I don't know. She was the inventor of this. God, I hope I'm saying all this right. But somehow I came across one of her videos somewhere, and I don't know. I don't know. Something just felt right with the technology. So, and I just heard more and more people talking about it. So and you may need to help me with this, scalar wave frequency with also photonic light.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, they make claims it doesn't, they have to dance all around that stuff, but it basically, I think she said it's like a battery or something.
Well, what my understanding is scalar waves are fifth dimensional wave frequencies, which is beyond the senses. So we have our five senses, right? Taste, touch, feel, whatever, sight. So scalar is beyond that. So that would tap into the intuitive side. This is my understanding, at least. And what Dr. Sandra Rose Michael did, she was the inventor of the EE system. And she incorporates a lot of she incorporates light energy, which is photon, another word for photon, incorporates the scalar wave technology, but she also incorporates a lot of the other stuff like grounding frequency, Schumann frequency, those echo something like for whales and dolphin frequency. Those are healing frequencies as well, and many other stuff in there. So I think it really incorporates the whole gamut of healing, if you look at it, which is, I think, amazing. But anyways, yes, and she had an interview with a YouTuber called Jason Shurka, and and their interview was went viral and exploded. Yeah. So with the system, and it's amazing that you're in Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee. I'm in Los Angeles, California, and we were able to hook up. Together. Yeah.
Yeah, well, definitely, because you with the cat, you had a cat center. You were like the only one that I was scouring everything, looking. Well, I was waiting for the place in Nashville to open, which they just did in November. And, but you were the only full-on animal place, so I was like, yippee! So I contacted you right away, even though I don't live there, but, but, yeah, I do think that, I think animal lovers and, I think we're going to find each other and help to bring forward more, more healing for the animals too, for sure, obviously, and people too. So,
yeah. I think animals it's time they have their time because they, they can't speak, they don't have a voice. And so they really rely on their humans, on us to take care of them, speak for them, things like that. So, yeah.
Yeah. And, just like we were saying too, I think there's not a lot of, there's not a lot of, testimonials or a lot of information about like this healing technology out there, with animals. I mean, really for people too. I mean, it's just kind of getting off the ground. I mean, it's already been off the ground, but, I think getting more information out there. So kind of feel like I don't know. I don't want to say grasping for straws, but trying to figure out what to, figure out what to do sometimes with stuff. I don't know if that makes sense, kind of.
Yeah. That's what pioneers do.
Yeah.
Trial
so
and
we're
error.
Definitely, pioneering this time right now, which, it's exciting too. So, more people, coming together. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So since we're starting a new year, what do you see in 2024?
Gosh. I think, I think it feels like, I mean, obviously, I guess this is a no-brainer. There's going to be a lot of change going on. I think a lot more people are waking up more to stuff with what's going on, but I think people are going to be surprised with a lot of stuff. I think we're in for some new, the word's out. I don't want to say out with the old and with the new. It's not that simple at all. But I think we're just moving into new times. How are you feeling? I don't even know where to go with that, with how, I mean, all the multi-layered of what's going on in the world, like behind the scenes, that I don't know, a lot of people don't see what's going on. So I sometimes get tongue-tied trying to go there.
It's hard to say, but I can certainly feel that this 2024 is going to be pretty explosive, whatever that might look like. But, as a reader, my message, or my higher soul's message, has always been being in the present, the here and now, because that's where your power is. That's where the past, present, and future is the here and now. And so whatever it is that is happening externally, it may or may not affect you, but we still don't see the whole picture. Whatever information that comes in, it's still a small piece of a much bigger picture. And so, for me, I kind of make it a point to stay grounded and to focus on what it is that I'm supposed to be doing in this lifetime, and to pursue that purpose, whatever that may look like. But, I get a feeling that 2024, like I said, is going to be very explosive. I think there's going to be a lot more information that's going to come out that we may not know of. And in a way, it's kind of exciting. It's just kind of just waiting to see what unfolds, and kind of just watching it like a movie and say, oh, that's interesting. And, oh, that's interesting too.
Yeah. I think it'll be positive. It's going to be, I think there's going to be a lot of positive things that are going to come from it.
I think so too.
So, like you say, even though we might be going through a rumbly time, to keep that focus on, what we're wanting to bring forward, and not getting derailed while we're, going through and anchoring in these, these positive focus, energies. So, and we've got a ton of help, I think, off planet help too. I mean, so I think I am really actually kind of interested. Yeah, I am interested. I'm excited too about everything too. So, I know that's why I came in at this time. I mean, I know that right now. So it's like I know what I'm doing, even though I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if that makes sense, kind of. But grounding in and keeping open, and to see what not the next move is, kind of, but positive.
Yeah, well, what the next move for us is in terms of our purpose, because I think this is just the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there are, I talked about tribe earlier. Like, I'm sure you and me have shared past lifetimes before.
Oh yeah.
And I'm sure we'll find others as as we go on this journey. And so it's like, to me, it's like an adventure,
It is. It's kind of like connect the dots, kind of, and and the feeling behind it is just so freeing and open. I don't know, moving forward with things. I don't know if that makes sense, kind of.
It's like a bright future.
Connecting with. What's that?
Like a bright future.
Yeah.
I remember my teacher once said, and he's a Satguru when he was born, which means he's already highly spiritually evolved, and he was the founder of pranic healing, which was my background. And I remember him saying, I wasn't there, I just heard it from his students, that he said, the Great Awakening, the Golden Age, the Aquarius Age is coming. And he said there's a lot of higher beings who are excited to come back to Earth to kind of help along. And so I was wondering, he left his body in 2007. And I'm kind of wondering, wow, would he be wanting to come back and, be a spiritual guide to humanity at this time? I don't know. I was just thinking out loud, but I thought that was an interesting comment that he made.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I very well could,
Yeah. So
yeah,
I think for me, if higher beings are excited to be coming to Earth, I think that's something that should say something. Something
yeah,
that's,
yeah, yeah. It's mind blowing to look at like the level of like enslavement that we've been in, and since it's just been such a slow progression, we just think it's normal,
Yeah. I had
over
this.
the years.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's so many different layers to it.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely interesting. I had this, I was meditating one time. This was many years ago. And I don't know if you want to call it imagery or vision, but I had this image of uh, a bunch of angels looking at discs. There's this discs in the middle of the room, big discs. And these angels are just looking at these discs, just watching it. And all of a sudden, these discs started popping, like pop, 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 and light started coming out. And as the disc popped and the lights came out, the angels just kind of flew away. And it's almost like they were kind of waiting for that disc to open for their assignment. And it sort of feels, yeah, it sort of feels like that as I kind of watch the political climate and what's going on, both in the spiritual field and now the, geopolitical field. That kind of reminded me of that, that there are different layers of things that are happening. And as one disc opens and light comes up, another disc will open and more light comes up, and on and on and on and on. So I thought that was a very interesting imagery that I had. It was like 6-7 years ago. I still remember very clearly. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. How everything's so connected.
Yeah. And I've learned how the universe, that the universe, everything will happen the way it's supposed to happen at the time it's supposed to happen. So, a lot of the geopolitical stuff, people are frustrated, they're angry, and, but I've learned that universe has their time. And when it's supposed to happen, it'll happen very quickly, very swiftly, very effortlessly. And that's my experience with how the universe works. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I know there's a lot of people that are, whoa, but it's true. Yeah, everything in good timing. My guides have said for years their famous words: relax and relax more. I mean, they say that like all the time.
That's beautiful. I like that.
Years go on.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of not comedy hour, but they're always.
Yeah, they.
But I mean,
yeah. They do have a sense of humor, don't they?
Oh yeah, very much so. Yeah. But yeah, that relax and relax more as the years go on. It's like, wow, that really makes sense. The more relaxed and open we are, yeah, like you say, can be more present, more grounded, more open. You're in the flow. You're in that, that connection.
And that's how we bring the light in. We can't bring the light in if we're all tensed up and stressed out.
Right. Yeah. So. And that in readings too, I think really helps get people back connected into their soul. Like I'll say people have kind of their own signature frequency, kind of. Everybody has the way, I don't know, their own unique frequency, but yeah, I know I'm kind of backtracking a little bit, but speaking of that, yeah, like the readings I think help people get, or any reading, I mean, I would imagine too, can help people get back into that, that soul connection that we're so programmed, like, don't connect, or that stuff's not real, or, people get off their center, and that, all the anxiety. I think you were saying that earlier too, so.
Yeah. Well,
And,
I know.
I mean, obviously meditation, I mean, anything,
Right.
Sitting with your pet. Yeah.
Right.
Sitting out on the ground and,
Right.
all of that stuff. Yeah.
Petting your cat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are days
That's,
where I could stay in my bed all day, just pet my cat and not get anything done.
yeah. Oh, and they love that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. As soon as I sit down, I'm like a cat couch. So.
I know.
But.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're awesome. Yeah.
That is pretty cool. Well, I know I asked you some questions. Is there anything that you wanted to talk about that we haven't touched on?
Well, no, I know we were, talking a little bit about pet food and stuff before we got on. And, I just, that's another thing I'd really like to have some, we were kind of joking too, like, I mean, cat food that all of the cats would like to eat that's healthy, I mean, it's like a full-time job trying to feed a cat,
I know.
I like it. I don't like it, yeah, and I do feel hopeful with things, with what's coming down the pike, just for the animals and, with these healing technologies, with, better pet food for the animals. And I know there is some out there, but, on with that. Just, I'm hopeful for some more positive changes coming down the pike for the pets and their well-being overall.
Yeah, it is something that I know you and I talked about, because my cat's pretty picky, very picky.
Yeah, no,
I think she was like a chef or something in her past lifetime. She eats
like
something
gourmet.
gourmet stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It's not easy feeding the cat. Yeah. So.
It would be nice to have like one type of food that they like all the time, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
Gosh.
They're so picky.
Yeah, I know. I mean, somewhere that would be awesome. Like really super healthy food that you can just put it down and we're all eating it. That would be.
You might need to do a menu, like what we do with humans, like a menu every week or something.
Maybe the replicators will do that for the cat food or something. I don't know. I don't know how those things are going to work, but
I'm excited about that. The replicators.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for that to come out. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Well, in the meantime, they sure are teaching us to, do our own research for them and all that stuff. So I think it's a learning experience for us. For me, it's a lesson of patience. Learning to be patient,
That's huge.
It is huge. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to not be, worried about them. With I don't know, with all of the toxic stuff out there affecting the animals. So it's it's hard, when they get sick from stuff and I know that, I guess in my soul, I don't know if it's just I'm tapping into other places or something too, but it's just, I know all this sickness and disease doesn't need to be happening, but I guess that's whatever we're moving through now. So like you say, being patient, but, I have faith in stuff. So, yeah.
Well, I'll say this, it sure has keep us on our toes in terms of, like before I wouldn't be reading labels. Now I got to read labels,
Yeah.
A little bit more mindful about reading labels, I should say. Yeah. And also doing my research and not just listening to other people. I think it certainly has taught me a lot. And, like the Eastern philosophy, you have the yin and the yang. You need the dark in order to understand. You have to understand the dark in order to appreciate the light. So there is that dance or dichotomy between the two. So I kind of see that, in my everyday life, in whatever situation comes up. So.
Yeah, that's very true. And I know it's a lot finding that line sometimes. Like, I mean, there's so much heaviness and suppression and stuck energy that my readings too. I mean, seeing how people are feeling, and a lot of times people, and you probably notice this too. I mean, people might think they're the only ones that are feeling this, but it's like, no, there's a lot of other people that are feeling that. I don't know where I was going with that, but sometimes I think it's helpful to know for people that they're not the only ones that are going through, going through stuff too.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I think community is important, because you have that support.
Yes.
Whatever that might look like, whether it's Zoom or in person or whatever it is. Yeah.
That's a huge point, that people that are, tapped in with their intuition, they really need to have kind of like-minded support, because I think that's really helpful for people. They're not feeling alone, because I notice that a lot. People feel like, I'm the black sheep in the family and nobody gets me, I mean, I hear that like constantly, so that's like normal,
Yeah. Been there, done that.
Yeah.
For me, yeah.
But people, I think too that, people, what I hear, I'm just throwing out like some intuitive stuff. What I hear a lot with people, like even in the readings, like people are like, well, that just confirms, how I was feeling. So, people are really already naturally, tuned in already. Everybody gets their intuition different. Some people may see, may hear, feel, know, and it's all the same. Some people think, well, if I don't hear it or see it, then that's not as good or something like that. But that's just, however you're getting it is how you get it. And it's perfect. And some people might get a few areas, but I think one of the really helpful things is, even if you have a friend who's like intuitive, and I used to do this with another psychic friend of mine, I mean, like years ago, we would just throw questions back and forth to each other, but, using your intuition rather than your mind, but just having somebody to bounce off stuff is really helpful. It's like exercise, you build your muscle intuitively too. So, that's what I'd really say to people, to really trust yourself. A lot of times people, oh, I should have listened to that, that feeling, that gut feeling, but I kind of overrided it, and especially up and coming in the coming times, I think people really need to be tuned into what they're feeling. It doesn't matter what anybody else is saying. I think you need to tune in to and really trust and navigate from that.
And I think that's why people are so all over the place. They listen to different people, different podcasters, and get, conflicted information and they're just like pulling their hair out. It's like, who do I believe? Well, believe in yourself, You have you got your spiritual connection to the divine within yourself right there. You got all the answers there. Yeah.
Yeah. And I also, this is just reminding me of things. Several people I noticed, like, while they're trying to develop their intuition, they'll read things, or some teachers will say, you have to exactly do it like this, or it'll be wrong, and I don't think you have to follow an exact formula with things. I always tell people, take what feels right and throw out the rest, but to really, again, like to trust yourself. Because I can't tell somebody how to be intuitive. Like, some people may hear, I don't know, bells or whistles, or somebody may see lights. Somebody might get a feeling in their stomach, or they might get a chill on their shoulder, like how they get their confirmation or their intuition. So you can't really tell somebody how to be intuitive. It's something you kind of have to practice and kind of keep working with.
It's a muscle, just like any other muscle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why having, supportive, like-minded people around.
Well, Gina, I think we're at our 3-minute mark, and it's been a wonderful talk, connecting with you. Do you have any last words of wisdom for our audience, and maybe where to find you?
Yeah, let's see here. Well, my website is Readings by Gina, GINA.com. It's all one word, Readings by Gina. That's probably the best place. I'm not on any social media right now. I kind of live in a cave, kind of. But, that has my phone number on there. So that's probably the best way to get a hold of me. Let's see here. Words of wisdom. I'm just hearing the guides are saying, love your pets. Well, we know that all the people listening to this are pet lovers, I'm sure. So, I'm just hearing just good things to come, and trust yourself, and and like you say, be really present with your pet.
Mm.
Yeah. How about you? Any words of wisdom for final?
I'd say thank your pet every day. Hug them, love them. I say I love you to my cat every day, and appreciate them for who they are. And thank them for being our teacher. I think they are our greatest teacher. So, I think that's
huge.
Yeah, it's huge. It is huge. Well, Gina, thank you again for coming on and being my first guest. And we'll keep in touch. I'm sure honored. You and I will have. I'm sure you and I will continue to.
Absolutely, yeah. See what rolls down the pike here.
That's right.
I'm all excited about it.
All right, Gina. Much love to you and Sasha, and all your little kitties.
Yeah. And, and Patty, and oh my gosh, what's your boy's name?
Theodore.
Theodore. That's what I was going to say. Yeah. So cute. Yeah. So cute.
All right, Gina. Okay, thank you so much. And this is Christina from the Bodega Cat Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. And we'll have another episode next month. Thank you so much. Bye-bye now.
Thanks for tuning in to the Bodega Cat Podcast. Your host, Christina Ng, will join you here again next month. Until then, have a beautiful month.